Not a lot of people get to honor God in a way that they like. Being a place to connect with people and grow deeper and love God and know Him and provide coffee and matcha and things that are made with organic ingredients and no seed oils and mold-free that loves your body.
Do you still struggle, even now being saved, not getting performance-based for God?
Yeah. And if you're doing this for the Lord, then He's going to provide the growth. It's not about you. Performance-based faith is a lie.
Sofia Myers, welcome to the Freedom Podcast.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me.
I'm so excited as now someone that has tried your coffee cart. It's really good. So you have one cart right now?
Yes.
And when did you start the coffee cart?
I guess the thought was a long time coming. I graduated college May of last year.
Okay.
I graduated with a civil engineering degree. So I'm a full-time civil engineer as of right now. But when I was going through college, I was a barista. That's kind of how I paid for college and how I just made my living when I was there. And I went to school in Cookeville, Tennessee. So not too far from here. But yeah, it's how I made money. And I loved that job. It was the only job I've ever had that never felt like a job. I really admired the way that the owners ran the company. It wasn't a Christian coffee shop. You wouldn't know if you went in. It didn't have a verse on the wall or you know what I mean? It wasn't obvious. But you can tell by the environment and the people and the way that they loved and cared for each other and cultivated that specific community. And so I felt that working there. And I just saw how relationship and how deep you can really get with one another when you consistently spend time together in a certain place.
Yeah.
And that's what that shop felt like to me. So I knew as soon as I left, I was really upset to leave that job. And I knew in my heart, almost like one of those God nods of you'll be back here one day. And I was like, okay. I was back in Cookeville or to me, it felt like, am I going to go back to my college town? Am I going to work at this shop in a bigger aspect? Or I didn't really know what that meant at the time. So I ended up moving away and moving back here. I'm from Franklin, so came back to my roots and started my new job as an engineer. I knew I wasn't going to like engineering. I kind of knew that in college, but I had to finish what I started. So I was like, okay. I got to finish. And so I was trusting the Lord. That was another big part of my struggle in college was when I gave my life to the Lord in college. I really struggled with His purpose and me being an engineer. I was like, what is the reason for this? This doesn't, I don't know, accent any of my strengths. I'm not good at math is my worst subject. I just struggled all the time. I was like, this feels so pointless, but it makes so much sense now because without this job, I would never be able to start what I have now.
I see.
So, because funds, everything's expensive. So I would literally have no money without it. So I am really, really thankful that the Lord took this way for me. But we officially started in February as an LLC. And we had our first event April 19th.
Oh my gosh, it hasn't even been long at all. That's crazy.
We literally just kicked off in April. Which is crazy to think of what the Lord has done in literally a month.
And you do this with your husband?
Yeah.
Is he an engineer too?
Yes.
Is he older or did you guys start jobs at the same time?
No, we're the same. We met at college through engineering school. So we're both same. We've done everything together since I met him. Same classes, same degree, same job.
Are you
different
at the same
companies.
company? Oh,
no.
Okay.
Different companies, same exact job. But
so wait, I want to go back to why did you pick civil engineering if you were if that's not your strength and not what you liked?
Okay. So, all right, we're going backwards now again. So, it started with my dad. My dad and I have a really poor relationship. And he always made me he always put unrealistic expectations on me.
Okay.
I think, and I always wanted to make him proud. And I feel like that was one of my biggest flaws growing up was just always striving for his approval, which does leak a lot into my spiritual life now, since I gave my life to the Lord. But so I have really struggled with that. But my dad told me that if I was going to college, I could either be a doctor, lawyer, or an engineer.
Wow.
Those were my options. So I picked engineer because I was like, not going to be a lawyer, too much school. Not going to be a doctor, too much school.
Yeah.
4-year degree, I'm good. So
that's wild.
So that's why I started engineering. So again, like from the beginning, it made no sense. Like,
that's so cool how God has used that though.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. So you were saved while you were in college.
Yes. Yeah.
What was that like?
Yeah, I grew up in not a Christian household. Both of my parents are not believers. But funny enough, I got sent to a Catholic high school. I don't know why. So I went to Catholic private high school. And that was the first time I learned about anything. Like, I didn't know about Adam and Eve until I was 15 years old. Like, and I felt very behind. Everyone in my school had grown up in parochial school, went to, and I went to school in Nashville, so St. Matthew, whatever. And I always felt really behind, and what they were teaching really had no depth. And a lot of the Catholic religion, which, some people may disagree, my experience was just very performance-based, which aligned a lot with what I had experienced growing up. So it was like, oh, you need to do these things to get to heaven. Oh, you sin, you need to pay for it with your prayer rosaries or go to confession or, whatever that was. And so it was really hard for me to ever break this feeling, these chains of like, what you do is like who you are, or like how I'm performing is who I am. And that is the theme of my whole life. And so, going to Catholic school really hurt me in that way. And so I went to college and I was like, I have nothing to do with religion. Please. I just couldn't do it anymore because it was just getting shoved down my throat that you sin, you're going to hell, blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, I'm going to hell. Moving on. Like, I can't do this anymore. So I went to college. I joined a sorority. And that taught me a lot of things. Taught me what not to do, baby. And but I learned a lot along the way. I feel like the Lord used that also in my life because it was a Christian-based sorority too, which was really interesting. But I learned what Christians are not when they say they are. So that kind of helped me grow in that way. But it's really confusing. I was navigating something that my heart was longing for a long time. I think I wanted to fill this void, and I've always had like a good moral compass. Like, I've never been in crazy, but I was missing something, and I was missing a relationship with Christ. I didn't have a relationship with him. I knew him because of a textbook, and I knew him because of what people put in my throat, growing up. Or like, this is God, this is who he is, this is what he will do to you if you don't do X, Y, or Z.
Can I ask a follow-up real quick?
Yeah.
When you say, like, before you were a Christian, you still had a good moral compass, do you think that was because you actually felt like that was what was right, or because you were trying to please the people that were in authority?
That's a good question. I think it was both. I think I feared my dad's judgment a lot, so I did stay away from certain things.
Yeah.
But I also saw the consequences of things and never wanted to deal with those things also. So I feel like there was a little bit of both going on, which I am thankful for that fear sometimes because it kept me from things that I definitely should not have been a part of. But so the sorority did teach me a lot, and I ended up leaving the sorority middle of my sophomore year because engineering got really tough, and I just couldn't handle all of the things that I was doing. So I moved on, and Will was like the only friend I had at that point. It was like just me and Will. I was like, I have no other friends. All of them basically left me. So I was really had a lot of time to think and be with myself. And the Lord kept showing up for me and providing opportunities. And I didn't know why. I always felt like I was like so rejected by God because of like the way I grew up. I was like, I don't know you. Like, but it wasn't a relationship. So I always felt like a reject because of what I was taught or like, what I've done. But I did feel, looking back, because hindsight is 2020, the Lord was really walking me slowly to himself and just giving me the right people and surrounding me with the right places. And so I gave my life to the Lord summer of 2022 when I had a falling out with my dad, and it got really, really, really bad. And he threatened to kick me out of the house. And I feel like that was the first time I had ever called out to God. and asked for his presence in my life, because I was like, you're all I got left. People
Yeah.
say that you're a thing, and I need that thing right now, basically. So I put my trust in Jesus that night. I gave my life to him, and that next summer I went on a mission trip for 3 months. And
Wow.
like, yeah, I went hard.
Yeah.
I went hard. Yeah. Me and Will, fun fact also, we gave our life to the Lord in the same week.
Wild.
So we both, half of our relationship was not in Christ, and the other half before we got married was.
Wow.
So the Lord, I know there's like so many different like tunnel holes I can go into right now.
Things.
Yeah. But yeah, the Lord took a really, really broken relationship and restored that and led us in purity to marriage too, which was an absolute amazing story. And that's something that I just love to tell, because it's just an amazing, amazing story. But yeah, so I gave my life to the Lord and haven't looked back ever since, and just been running hard after him and trying to glorify him in everything I do. And just bringing this coffee cart, this business that I love so much, the coffee business, and that has impacted my life, has just been so sweet, because not a lot of people get to honor God in a way that they like. And I think that a lot of people in today's culture is like, oh, well, I'm going to do something I want to do and just like find a way to honor God. And I'm like, yeah, and that's true, and you can, but God also calls us to suffering. And sometimes we're not going to be in a place that we want to be.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's how I felt in engineering, and how I still feel today. Like, I have to work my job still, because I'm trying to build a company, and it's not easy, but it's just like, he puts us in these things to refine us. But the gift that he gave me and the vision and the purpose that he gave me to use coffee as an outlet to create his community and to build his kingdom, I just feel really, really blessed, because not everybody gets to do what they love to do.
Yeah.
And for God's glory. So
that's true.
Yeah. All that to say. There's a lot, but yeah.
So I'm curious, going into a job that you dislike and now building a business that you love, do you still struggle, even now being saved, not getting performance-based for God in both or either of those things?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it is an everyday fight for me, for real. Like, I want to say that has gotten easier, but some days it's not. Yeah. Like, it's hard to see something that you want so bad and not take that success and look and put it in a mirror and look on yourself. Like, oh, well, what am I not doing right now that could be making this grow? Or like, why do I not have more followers right now? Or like, why do I not have enough views on this reel that I spent hours making? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like, what did I do wrong? Or always reflecting back on me. And I feel like, again, that's a theme in my life of like, even with relationships, it's like, why do you treat me this way? What did I do wrong? Yeah. And so I'm constantly looking at myself and trying to sift out these things. And with the coffee company, it's hard, because especially at the beginning, it's all grit and all grind. Like, you have to put in the hours. Like, I work around 65 to 70 hours a week. Yeah. Like, both my 40-hour job and plus coffee cart stuff. Right. So it's like, it's not easy. And it's not meant to be easy. But yeah, I mean, performance-based faith is a lie. And it is a lie that the enemy will ensnare you in, and he will deceive you, and he will keep you there as long as you keep floundering there. Yeah. And it really has taken me a lot of grace from Will, my husband, because he also struggles with performance-based faith too. Which also is probably not the best combo. But it's good because we see it in each other. I think we really see how it manifests in each other, and it takes like a really good community to say, like, it's not about you. Yeah. Like, it's not about you. And if you're doing this for the Lord, then he's going to provide the growth. It's not about you. And that doesn't mean sit on your butt and be like, well, Lord, do what you want. You know what I mean? It's like, you have to you have to put in the work. You have to take the step. It's up to you. But also, it's not up to you, the outcome. And so I think I'm constantly reminding myself of that, and just taking those thoughts captive, Yeah. And
like,
really
what
being
is
like,
your responsibility?
Yeah. Like, if I get disappointed that we didn't do so good on a day I really thought we'd do good on, I'm like, man, like, what the heck? I'm so upset, be myself. I'm like, this isn't about you.
Yeah.
And just taking it and being like, you know what, Lord, I'm a little discouraged and that's okay. But I'm just going to put my trust in you that you have something better for me or that there's a reason for this and just move on.
Right.
Because you can't carry that weight either. The weight is what'll keep you there.
Yeah, it's heavy.
Yeah, it is really, really heavy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, with the engineering job, the performance-based pay is a little better because I don't really care as much. I'm like, meh, didn't do so good on this one. Meh, next
It's
time.
fine.
Yeah, it's just like it's not my baby. Like
Yeah.
this is, it doesn't matter to me as much, especially because being in corporate world is so different because you are subject to their culture. You're subject to what morals and values that they want you to have, and like that never sits well with me as a person. Like, so it's another reason why I wanted to start my own thing, which I know isn't easier, but it's like being able to control the culture is huge these days. And I feel like that's why a lot of Gen Z people are trying to hustle and get there, because they're like, I'm tired of living. And obviously we're all looking for the truth. Gen Z is, out of all the generations, is the one that's seeking the truth the most right now, and so hard. And we're seeing more people come to Jesus, more people know him, more people just follow him hard. And same way, they want to run the culture. So they're starting businesses. They're like, I'm done working for corporate that wants to push LGBTQ month on me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not wearing rainbow next month. You won't see me in the office wearing it.
Yeah.
Like, people will,
Yeah.
And it isolates you and it makes you look
does.
really bad. But it's like, it's not worth it. It's not worth compromising your faith, your morals, and what you answer to God at the end of your life. You know what I mean? It's not worth it. So being able to control the culture is a huge reason why starting a business is a good decision for me, at least.
Do you feel like in this transition, though, it's getting hard? Obviously, like, you don't care about it as much because it's not your baby, and that's normal.
Yeah.
But like, when I was wanting to transition out of my salon job into being in a suite and being self-employed, it was really hard for me to not like hate the salon, and like hard to remember like, this is where I am though, and like I still have to work for God and not for people, even though I like hate this job. Like, do you feel like that's getting hard for you?
I think maybe the job itself is difficult at times.
Yeah.
But my mission is always people based, and I see this space. Oh, I'm sorry. I see this space as a place I can love people.
Yeah.
And make an impact. And that is my mission in my life. And so if I can carry my mission for my shop in where I'm at right now, doing both, like, that's the goal, you know? So I don't see, like, I love the people that I work with. I love them and I care for them and I want to be there for them and, be a light in their life. Like, 100%. The job itself does get a little bit like, feel like you're wasting your time. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm wasting my time. Like, I feel like what I'm doing isn't fulfilling to me. I'm like, like, designing a road isn't fulfilling to me. I'm sorry. Like, it's not. Like, I don't want to control your traffic. Like, it's not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? It's just like stuff like that. It's like, when I look at my two jobs right now, I look at one that has a mission for being the hands and feet of Jesus, giving back to communities who don't have, being a place to connect with people and grow deeper and love God and know him and provide coffee and matcha and things that are made with organic ingredients and no seed oils and mold free, that loves your body, and like creating this place of simplicity and slowness and intentionality is far outweighs what I do like in an engineering job. Not saying that those jobs aren't important, because obviously they are. But yeah, I mean, I don't see myself hostile, I guess, yet. I won't say that I'm past that or better than that, because I can see myself getting hostile because, it's hard. It's hard to be in a place you don't want to be. But again, I think it ties back to the performance-based thing of just being like, it's not about you.
Right.
And I think that's the constant reminder that I put in my head, is I'm like frustrated about something that I have no control over. And I'm like, it's not about you, Sophia. It's okay. Yeah. It's not about you. And it's not meant to be about you. Yeah. So if you stop letting this be such a burden, you're going to be fine. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you're thinking about yourself a lot, you're constantly going to be putting yourself deeper in this hole of just misery.
Yeah.
Like as soon as you take yourself out of the picture, it's not that big of a deal anymore.
Right.
You know?
Well, I think there's this like idea too that prideful thinking is only thinking like I'm so much better than everyone.
Yeah.
But to think about yourself in a negative sense is still about you. Like that's still pride.
Yeah.
It's just disguised different.
100%.
And I think it's interesting to see how like God makes us so uniquely and our personalities are so different to what fulfills us is so different.
Yeah.
Because I do have friends that are like engineers that are 9 to 5 that they feel so fulfilled in that setting. And like someone like you doesn't. And that's cool because like civil engineers are still important. And as a resident of Spring Hill, we need better roads. So that would be appreciated.
Exactly.
So like it matters, but it's cool to see the way that God has made you, that you love community. Yeah. And like you love pouring into that and caring about what goes in our body. Like I love that.
Yeah. I think I've been always someone who is pretty others centered. Like I always care in a good and bad way, whether I don't want to be judged by them or like these things, like others centered, being like, I want to love people. I want to have a lot of friends. I want to be in community with people all the time. I don't like being alone. Like I need to be alone a lot of times just for my mental health. And I do take that time, but it's like, I have such great joy in community in those spaces. But there are, and I think part of the reason why engineering necessarily isn't for me is because I don't have a lot of that personability. Yeah. Like I sit at a cubicle and work on my computer all day long, you know? Yeah. So I think for me, my personality doesn't fit well in this career. And so there are people who I know are lovers of Jesus and they're more reserved people.
And they thrive there.
They thrive there in that cubicle. Like listen to their podcast, their music, and just get to work.
Some people love a cubicle,
you know, and I don't blame them for that. Like it's cool. You can decorate, put some lights on it, and make it your little like cove. It's cool. But I just feel like,
but you're not a cubicle person.
No, I can't be tamed to a cubicle. Yeah, I'm not that girl. I get that, and that's okay.
And we're all different,
and we're all different parts of the body, and we all make up one. Really, really important. We're all important pieces. Totally. To one puzzle. So
tell me about the transition of opening the cart. What that was like.
It was really, really hard. It is not easy. There's a lot of legality to it. And listen, I don't like numbers and I don't like legal stuff. So
well, you didn't want to be a lawyer. So.
No, not the thing. So it's just like, it's so funny how like you have to go through rough seasons to get like, you have to go through rough seasons to get to where you're going to glorify the Lord. I think you can glorify the Lord in everything. Yeah. But those seasons where you're like really wrestling and struggling bring out so much of like God's character and what he has for you. And so his glory on the other side of that wrestle and that struggle is so much sweeter when you like get to look back and see like,
because you just have gratitude.
Yeah. Just like an overwhelming sense of like, that was awful and I could have never done that without you. Like, yeah. But in the moment, you see it as just this painful toil of like, why do I have to do this? You know, or like, why do I have to like go through all this hard time? Like, why isn't anyone helping me? Like, I need help, or, you know, it's really hard and it feels lonely and isolating. Like starting the business was really isolating. Because it's hours upon hours of Tennessee government stuff or chasing after permits or applications to send into the state and waiting time and waiting. And so it was hard because part of running the business is getting bookings. And so I was trying to start facing clients and being like, hey, like you should have us here. This is why we're important. This is why we're filling a need. But it was like the time was ticking because permits were back or legal stuff wasn't done. So I was selling a product that wasn't ready. Yeah. And so it's this like balance of I need to get jobs. I need to get work. And you can wait. Like, don't hear me and be like, oh, you can't wait till that's done and then start the next phase. But I think for me, I want to own a brick and mortar next year. So it was like, time was against me, you know? So I was getting bookings while I was trying to make this company real life. And so it was around the clock, designing logos, designing merch, designing all the things I did, creating recipes, doing all the different syrup flavors that we make, just being creative in that outlet. And it was so fun at times, and it was so draining at times.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to do it with your spouse because of a lot of reasons. But I learned a lot. We had a lot of hard nights, a lot of arguments, a lot of disagreements of how we should run the company, and there was just a lot of toil. That's what I'd say. But and there still is, and there still will be. But that first push to like get it to the opening day was so hard.
Was that your first year of marriage?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It was a lot. It was a lot. So, but it was, I mean, we started the idea of the company, I think like 2 months after we got married. So it was like.
What do you feel like the biggest thing you learned in like conflict resolution between you and him?
I think the big, from my story, this was a vision that the Lord specifically put on my heart.
Okay.
And I have vision like in my dreams. Like the Lord speaks to me in dreams.
Yeah.
Which is such a gift. I love it. I'm a very visual learner.
Same.
So like seeing things play out really helps me like just like put my trust in God even more every time I see stuff. But I have had reoccurring dreams about this and like
That's cool.
about the name and things like that. That's how I named it, is because this kind of sounds a little scary, but I had a lot of end times dreams.
Oh, because of the remnant. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where the word remnant came from, because
That's cool.
I had the idea for the coffee cart, and when I was praying, I was like really feeling the Lord start to pull me towards it, towards having a coffee company and starting this. And I was trying to name it for months and months and months. And I kept having these recurring end times dreams. And I was like, I was listening to a podcast, and I don't remember which one it was now, but the guy told me, he's like, because the guy had a business and he named it through a dream he had. And he was like, I basically just took my dreams and I named my dreams. And I was like, okay. I was like, I should probably try that. And so I was like, if I sum up the dreams I've had,
Yeah.
they're all about a remnant, the people that were left, you know?
Interesting.
And so that's how like the name Remnant came to be. But
That's cool.
yeah, so through those times, like I was the one being really involved, and it has such like it's a huge part of me. It's part of my heart. Like this is like a specific calling on my life.
Yeah.
And so I think the biggest thing I've learned, because it's been hard for Will to give me input and be like, and not say, oh, well, it's kind of my thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, you
Totally.
don't really know what I'm like talking about.
You don't know what I've been through.
You don't know what I've seen.
Yeah.
You don't know what the Lord has spoken to me. And it's really, really hard not to be so prideful and do that, because he will say something that I disagree with, and I'll be like, not your thing.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, and I have to tame it down, because I'm like, okay, chill. I think the biggest thing I've learned is, again, always going back to it's not about you thing, but also if Will is my spouse, it's his vision too.
Yes.
And I think that is so hard for me to wrap my head around sometimes.
Yes.
Because he is my spouse and we are one, which means my mission is his mission and my vision is his vision. And if we're married, the Lord has a calling and a place for him in this too. And I was excluding that in my head just because of my experience. But that doesn't mean that he's disqualified out of the picture, you know? So I think the biggest thing I've learned about in conflict resolution is that even if it's your vision, even if it's what the Lord has put on your heart so strong, if you have a spouse and you're doing it together, that does not mean they don't have a piece in that the Lord isn't using them.
Yeah.
Because you will look back and you will need them, and they will have brought things to the table that you could have never done alone.
Right.
So,
because that's what marriage is supposed to be, like this Ezer Connecto of like sharpening and keeping each other accountable and adding what each other are missing.
yeah.
But I totally get that. I felt like that because I'm very independent, and getting married in the beginning was hard for me because I'm like, this is mine.
Yeah.
This is my thing.
Yeah. Well, it's hard. It's hard not to be very especially if like you were independent before marriage, it's hard to kind of like find dependence on somebody.
Totally.
'Cause I'm like, I've done this by myself. I'm fine. I'm chilling. Me and the Lord, we've
Right.
been doing it.
Because
You
you're
know?
not just submitting to God anymore, but now you have an earthly person to submit to.
Yeah. But, you know, and we do need to submit to our husbands and respect and honor them for sure. But that doesn't mean that you can't say your piece.
Oh my gosh, no.
And I think that was another thing that I had to learn, because at the beginning everyone was like, submit to your husband. And I was like, okay, like, what does that even mean? Just say whatever, like, say yes to whatever he says. And that is not always the
No.
best decision either. So hear me when I say that. Definitely, you can question them and you can ask, like,
Yeah.
why that? Or, like, why do you think that's better than my idea? Or, like, whatever it is, like, always, I always start with, like, being skeptical about it. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
well, why did you choose this? Or why do you think this flavor is better than this flavor? Or whatever.
Yeah.
Because, like, for me, my number one issue is really just trying to take Remnant Coffee and make it my coffee shop. Sofia's. I'm doing it all. I'm doing all the work, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to not, again, put your identity into this.
Yeah.
And be so consumed by something that isn't yours,
Yeah.
you know? And yeah, that's what I'd say.
So what role does he play in all of it?
Well, thankfully, he's really good at finances and numbers.
Love that.
I'm not. See? So
See, it works out.
Exhibit A. No, seriously. He gets on to me all the time. It's like, are you putting the invoices in the folder? I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm irresponsible and I can't do that. I can't remember to do that. It's like every receipt you have to take a picture and put it in a folder. I'm like, oh,
That is
awful.
a lot, actually.
Yeah, I can't do that. I'm like, I want to be the creative girl. Like, let me just like do my creative thing and just talk. That's my thing. But it's like I need him to balance me out in that way. Because like I have a very creative push and I have visions and I have ideas and I'm super crazy like that. And I'm also very fast paced. Like I live life fast.
Yeah.
Like I want to do all of these different things all the time.
At the same
every
time.
day.
Yes.
Yes. Like every single day I'm like multitasking. I'll be like cooking, making a syrup, working my job, like running back and forth and like doing all these. And he's literally like, he's like, you're insane. I'm like, yeah, but he's super slow. Like he is slow. Like it takes forever to do anything because
Just
he's
very
so,
methodical.
Yes.
Yes.
He is so meticulous.
Yeah.
He is scaling out everything to the T. And I'm like, okay, we do not have time for this. But it's just like, it's so crazy how I need him though. Like,
Yeah. Because he makes sure mistakes don't happen.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I will just like free everything and just I won't measure anything. I don't bake with measuring tools.
What?
Yeah. I like just throw stuff in there.
So nothing ever comes out the same?
Nope. But it's good.
Cool.
I actually had a sourdough micro bakery before the coffee shop because
Oh, that's fun.
Because I was like making money for it
Yeah.
on the side, but I didn't measure anything. But it's just like stuff like that. Like I'm just very much the opposite of him in that way, but I need him to slow me down because I get too far ahead of myself or I don't fully think out things when I start. I have like an initial idea and I'm just like have like steps 1 and 2 and that's it. I just start doing it. But he really reels me in and helps me stay grounded. But he also honors me like he really cherishes and loves that side of me. Like he loves how creative I am and how much I care about things or how much I want this coffee shop brick and mortar open ASAP because I want to have my best friend who's a Christian music artist to sing there and do worship nights. And I want Bible studies to come out of there. Like I want it to be open all night long for people to use. Like,
Yeah.
and I have such a passion for that I will work as hard as I have to get there faster.
Yeah.
And he really honors and loves me that way. But that isn't always the best way. And so I need him. Like, I definitely can't do without him. He's methodical. He is calculated. He knows money and math. And he's just very much so wants everything to be perfect. And that is what makes all of our stuff so good.
Yeah.
It's like, I may have the idea, but he perfects it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Totally.
And so I just think that it's really special what we have going on. And it can be really, really hard to work with a spouse because it's like I said, it's easy to get very self-centered and prideful. But when you really look at it as a joint venture and you honor each other's opinions, it's a really, really beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And it can be really fun to do it together.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So we talked about, a lot of your testimony in college and then going into your engineering job and then transitioning to the coffee stuff. What do you feel like either in marriage or personally God is stretching you in or growing you in right now?
So much stuff. I think one of the main things I'm learning right now is, there's actually a few things probably, but I'll say the first thing I'm learning right now is how to honor God where I'm at and search more into the word contentment. I think, because everyone's like, oh, I'm content. I was always like, okay, what does that mean? But a state of contentment is actually so hard to reach.
Yeah.
And I feel like people throw around that word like, oh, I'm content in my singleness. You hear that a lot or whatever. Or you need to find that space. And I think that I've always just never really seen it and wondered. But now I am because I'm moving so fast paced with something that I'm passionate about. It's like, am I ever going to be content where I'm at in it? Or am I always going to be striving for the next thing?
Yeah.
And I think that's also like a theme of my life too. It's like, am I consistently going to be working towards the next thing or hoping for the next thing? Or am I going to have my hope and faith in Jesus and just let the chips fall where they may?
Yeah.
And not put so much weight on everything like I do. So I think that's one of the things I'm learning. And the other's rest. The Lord called me to start a business and to rest in the same season. And that is hard for me to decipher in my brain because I'm like, God, how could you make me work all this time and still ask me to find rest? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Does it mean sleep? Does it mean doing nothing? Does it mean sitting around? Or, so the past few months, like, I think like probably January, the Lord started tapping on my heart and just being like, rest. I was like, let me like sit down. Like, I just don't know what that means. And I still don't. Like, I'm still wrestling with what biblical Sabbath rest means.
Yeah.
And some people will say rest is just not working your occupation. Okay. But if I didn't work my occupation, I could still do things that aren't restful, or I could still be distracted from the Lord. Or sometimes people say, well, rest is just getting in your word and hanging out with people, or doing chores, or it's just like what everyone says rest is something different. So I think I'm really trying to search right now and really lean into what God has for that word rest, because he says it all throughout the Bible, and he like even God rested. So it's important. Like if God rested, I sure as heck need rest.
Yeah.
But what that means, I still don't know. I mean, how I've taken it so far is just doing things that bring me joy and bring me back to the Lord.
Yeah.
So that's how I've interpreted it so far. So like Sundays is my rest day.
Perfect.
Because sometimes people have Saturday rest days. And I'm like, that's cool. But Sunday is my rest day. The only thing that I do on a Sunday is go to church. And the rest of the day, I just do things that remind me of God and that bring me joy. So like Will and I have a weird Frisbee golf kick right now.
Awesome.
I don't know. It's just like our new thing.
Love that.
But it's like we go out and we play Frisbee golf, or we go for a walk, or we go to the gym. And we can either do it together or separate. We get in the Word on a Sunday or whatever it is. It's really something that just brings us joy, brings us closer together, and then closer to God. So I think those are like the main two things I've been learning recently, but always learning more about being more selfless, not thinking of myself as much, trying to not be prideful in this season of what I want to happen, obviously, and just trust, like always growing in trust with the Lord. Like, and it's so hard not to trust him when I've seen what he's done, not only in my life, but the lives of others around me. So like trust is something I've always struggled with people in general, but every time I'm lacking in trust with the Lord, all I have to do is look backwards and see like all that he's done and been faithful in. So he has just been so faithful in my life, and especially in this season. I mean, graduating college, starting a new job, getting married, and starting a business in a year is insane.
Yeah.
It's insane, and it's been inconsistent, and it's been a crazy lifestyle. But the Lord had us here for a reason, and he ordained this time. So I'm just like leaning into it and kind of seeing what's here. But I would say those are my biggest lessons right now, and probably a lot more. Probably a lot more. I need to learn.
We all need to learn.
Need to learn.
So if people want to book the Remnant Coffee Cart, how can they do that?
Well, you can follow us on Instagram, Remnant Coffee Company. There's like a little inquiry form in the bio, but you can also just DM us. And just we love going out and doing private events. We like doing it on the streets. We love just meeting people, and we're just working towards getting a coffee shop and being rooted somewhere.
Yeah.
We love being mobile. There's actually such a huge advantage to being mobile because you can literally serve anyone anywhere.
Yeah.
And I love that about it. But there's something special about the capacity at which you can do work when you have a consistent space. So, or if we continue the cart, is to hire college students.
Cool.
Because of my experience, I want to give that same experience to students who need help.
Yeah.
You know, financially, mentally, spiritually, like that is what I needed in that season, and I got it.
Yeah.
And so giving back to that would just be so huge. So if we had the brick and mortar and then we're using the cart, I'd love to hire college students to just do the cart stuff.
That'd be really cool.
And then they just hang out and do it together, which would be so fun.
It really would.
It is fun. Running a coffee cart is really just fun. It's a lot of work, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Thank you for everything you've shared.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry I went to like 50 different rabbit holes.
No, that was...
I could talk for
your
literally
story,
hours about so many different things.
Well, it was awesome.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course.
It's been so much fun.